just this a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see me. Well, I am here in my kitchen. I am actually doing or cooking dinner. And excuse me, I'm a bit tired, and it's been a long day. And I just thought I'll come here and very quickly talk about one of the trending topics in the news today about Chrisley. If you've been watching some of Bravo or you follow, I think it was Channel 5 in the UK, you would have, just a minute. Yeah. So you would have come across Chrisley Knows Best. And Chrisley Knows Best is an American, or was an American family-based reality show. Sorry if you're hearing a bit of noise. Like I said, I'm cooking. I just thought I'll jump in here just for a short time, 5-minute video, and I'll jump right back up because I'm cooking dinner. But I really wanted to come in here and talk a bit about Chrisley. So we now hear that Chrisley and Julie, Todd and Julie Chrisley, have been jailed for a combined number of years of 19 years. And this is rather sad and quite disappointing because I am guilty. I am one of those people who really genuinely enjoy their family reality show. And it's rather disappointing to me personally that I always saw Chrisley as one of those few people who upheld faith and religion. Let me grab my wine. Like I said, I'm cooking, and cheers to you guys there. Yeah, my husband poured this for me. Anyway, my dinner is almost done. And so it's rather sad when we all heard about the news of him being charged for tax evasion and tax evasion and all the fraudulent banking activities. I personally kept praying that this will turn out not to be true. But unfortunately, it seems like it is true. We heard that the prosecutor in the United States was asking for more years, actually. And in the end, luckily for them, the judge decided to give Chrisley 12 years and Julie 7 years. And personally, if there's something to thank God about, is the fact that Nanny Faye did not get a jail time, because I do believe when she said she was signing a lot of checks or company documents but didn't really know what she was signing in for. I mean, it can't happen to any of us, and of course, I think the judge would have taken into account of her older years. The people I'm worried about are the granddaughter they're raising and their last boy, what's his name? I can't even remember. So it's rather disappointing to actually eventually come to the conclusion and be found guilty. So it's, some of the news we heard earlier today read like this. Let me just stop this a little. Okay. So I'm gonna. So we heard blogged by XOXO Simon says that reality TV stars Todd and Julie Chrisley were sentenced on Monday in the federal bank fraud and tax evasion case. An Atlanta federal judge sentenced Todd Chrisley to 12 years in prison plus 60 months probation, whilst his wife, Julie, received 7 years in prison plus 16 months. Then he went on to say, the Chrisley Knows Best couple was convicted in June for defrauding banks out of $30 million. I mean, we are not even talking about just a small amount of money. One has to question. We're seeing a lot of this in a lot of the shows we watch. I mean, I tend to watch a lot of American, reality show programs and all that. And we seem to be increasingly coming across people from reality shows getting into trouble financially. And it just kind of makes you wonder. And I remember there was a lady who appeared in Wendy Williams' show who kept talking about the fact that she didn't believe that Chrisley was as rich as he was making himself out to be, and there was something fishy about Chrisley. And for a while, she and Chrisley were going back and forth, throwing insults at each other. Unfortunately, I would say it seems that the lady, forgive me, I can't remember her name, turns out to be right. And so we learned that this whole shenanigan was pulled off because of his accountant. And I know, like you, like myself, many of you out there were a lot of talks, behind the scenes about Todd Chrisley. Is he straight? Is he G? You know what I mean. And as stuck up for the man, but apparently, allegedly, even though it's been proven in court over there, this whole thing happened over a long period of a number of years because the accountant, who only, by the way, got only $40,000 out of all this, the accountant was into Chrisley, who we know is a married man and with children, but apparently it's alleged that the accountant and him had something between them. So apparently the accountant must have been, whether you call it infatuation or whatever, besotted by him, and hence he was willing to do what he did to help Chrisley come up with all these fraudulent activities over years, duping small community banks, duping mortgage banks, lying about properties and things he didn't have. And to be honest, I find that very shameful. And this is a man that often, talked like he was a Christian. And for me personally, I take an offense to that because, we as Christians, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, we already have a hard job trying to prove and trying to uphold our beliefs. But when you see people or men or women like Chrisley, and they're projecting one demeanor on television, and then now we come to see that he's been found guilty of fraud, stealing, sort of, because when you're not paying your tax and you're lying about the real amount of money you haven't got, it is a kind of stealing, isn't it? And it is really rather sad. And then we saw him throughout the show, and I even at the time did wonder, with all the show, all we saw, when did this guy have time to work to make the money to spend on the kind of lavish big house they have and all that? Someone, I can't remember who, or say, oh, maybe apparently he sold his real estate, and he kept thinking, even savings, if you don't have a way of making up for those savings and you're spending the way they were spending, surely your bank account will begin to thin down. So, to be honest, I personally feel very sad. So we now know that they were obviously found guilty in June. So was Todd and Julie maintained they did nothing wrong. Of course, most people, when they're caught, they always claim first thing, I'm going to appeal. If they don't say I'm appealing, they say they did nothing wrong. And for some reason, some people think if they keep telling us, the public, they've done nothing wrong, that means they've done nothing wrong. And we, the public, we're not stupid. Sometimes it does feel a bit like some people want you to believe their own lies. So they maintain that they did nothing wrong and that someone else was in control of their finances. The pair were charged with conspiracy to commit bank fraud and conspiracy to defraud the United States and tax fraud. Julie was also charged with wire fraud and obstruction of justice. That doesn't surprise me. She would have done anything to protect Todd. So Peter Tarantino, the couple's accountant, was also sentenced Monday to 36 months in prison for his role in committing fraud on their behalf. To read the rest, you can log into, Google and type in Todd Chrisley or Julie Chrisley, and you'll be able to learn more. And so, for the accountant to risk all his qualification, everything he ever knew, just because you were infatuated with a married man, my question to him would have been, if he was my son, God forbid, or your brother or your friend, was it worth it, you putting your career on the line to commit fraud for Chrisley? And for me, I would say the answer is no. It's rather unfortunate, Clearly, the man was very taken by whatever he saw in Chrisley. I don't know. But what I do know is this. If you're watching this, and you're one of those people out there, we have them all over the world, whether you're in Africa, Asia, UK, US, learn to live within your means. You don't have to prove anything to anyone to be happy. Do you understand? Because clearly what we're learning from Chrisley is basically greed. Greed and someone trying to live out and impress the world that they had more than they really had. And we, like I said earlier, we tend to be coming across a lot of this, especially with the, if you follow things like The Real Housewife, which is a Bravo, product, we have recently come across a few housewives who are supposed to be rich, but now we have Jen from Salt Lake City, who will be going into court for sentencing. I think she's actually been found guilty of another, excuse me, another fraudulent activities. And you have to ask yourself, what is Bravo doing? Who is Bravo? We came across all these people because they're supposed to show the public the way the other people or how the other side lives. But then we're seeing increasingly that even the people you think you know, because we see them on our television, are just simply people living a lie. And it boils down to some people thinking they have to live like the Joneses. And it's very sad because to me, I think it's all psychological, because if you know who you are and you're confident of who you are, like I always say to anyone, especially my husband and I, when we talk, I don't understand the mind of criminals or people who feel they have to steal to prove something, because I don't like the kind of money or success I touch and you're forever watching your back. There is something called integrity. And where is that integrity in today's world? I don't know. And so for someone like Chrisley, who projected himself as a family man, in fact, they gave us the impression they were a Christian family. And for me as a Christian, that's why I take it personally, because there's those kind of people who bring bad names to Christianity. And for those who don't know God and they see people like this, they say one thing and they do another, it makes it harder to convince people who are not Christians to give their life to God. You understand what I'm saying? So unfortunately, it brings bad name to Christianity. And then as a family man, one has to wonder, what kind of example are you setting for your children? We saw him in the program. There's nothing wrong with buying Mercedes. Anyone can buy Mercedes. It's not a big deal. If you have the money, if you have the finance, not trying to, project what you're not. Anyway, like I said, I'm cooking. I'm in my kitchen. I just thought I'd jump in. I'm looking a bit tired. This is not meant to be fancy. I just want to jump in here because we all heard about this news coming in from the United States, and I'm rather disappointed. I'm very sad that Chrisley, Todd, and Julie have been found guilty, both sentenced 90 years in jail. And unfortunately, I don't know how this is going to affect their family. And I'm very particularly sad for Nana Faye, but I'm also very grateful that the judge did not sentence her considering her age. I think Nana Faye must be in her late 70s, and I do believe she was innocent. She was only signing documents her son gave her to, sign. And this is another lesson. Whoever you are watching me, when someone gives you a document to sign, look at it, read it. Don't be too lazy about what you're putting your name down to. But of course, we can't excuse Nana Faye. She's old school. She trusted her son. She made us laugh, and it just rather sad that their family and everything they pretended to have has come crumbling. Anyway, on this note, I'm just going to stop here. Like I said, I'm cooking dinner and my family are hungry. I'm hungry myself. I think just 5 more minutes I'll be able to finish, and I'll say cheers to you. Don't worry, that's just my red wine for my dinner, as we do with my family sometimes. And on this note, I say cheers, and please hit the like button, subscribe and support my channel. So when I upload a video next time, you'll be amongst the first to know. And if you have or haven't been following The Real Housewife of Potomac, or you never heard of it, it's a Bravo production. Occasionally I do cover it. I haven't done so, but tomorrow I will be covering, because there's something that happened the last time that is really irking me. It's like society, we're losing it. People who should be parents are losing their moral standing. No one seems to have any bearing as to how to conduct themselves. So on this note, tomorrow I'll be covering it. I probably will schedule it. I thought I'll be able to do it, but I wouldn't. So I'll stop right now. I'm going a bit too far. I just want to come in and talk about Todd and Julie Chrisley, who have been jailed both for 19 years. And please remember, don't live above your means. Be true to yourself. Be happy with what you have, and learn to manage what you have. If you do all that and have confidence in who you are, you don't have to live or pretend to live big to impress anybody. It doesn't even matter what people think. What matters is what makes you happy. After God, if you're a married man or woman, put your spouse first after God, and take care of your family and be happy. The rest is basically doesn't matter. So please don't be another Chrisley. Don't find yourself in debt or find yourself doing something you shouldn't do. And on this note, be happy. Good evening from London. Au revoir. Merci. Bye. See you next time. Okay, I'll stop here.